ever wondered what sustainable architecture with a rural aesthetic that meets urban chic really looks like? Well, this is it.
This is the Van Bhoj Mud House, just outside of Delhi, built by architects specializing in sustainable design long before it was a buzzword.
The architects were working on sustainable living 40 years back. At that time, this word sustainability was not even common.
In this episode of the Village Vibe podcast, we sit down with the woman who lovingly looks after Van Bhoj, Prerna Prasad, journalist turned travel entrepreneur.
I've traveled almost the entire country in every state.
She runs India's leading booking platform for eco-friendly hotels, which are becoming more popular thanks to the growing love of the rural aesthetic.
It's a huge trend. Like now, every day I get at least 2 to 3 calls.
But it isn't her only passion.
You fell in love?
Fell in love with the house and the concept.
But what we all really want to know is,
a lot of people say that, okay, what will happen to your mud house when it rains?
Growing up, you play with mud patties, you're doing it, they drive, it rains, they disappear. So Prerna Prasad, you are the founder and CEO of Ecoplore, which is India's largest platform for sustainable hotels and experiences. But you are also the curator of Van Bhoj, the mud house, which is here on the outskirts of Delhi, on the edge of the forest. And it's really an example of sustainable architecture meets the rural aesthetic meets urban chic. And for you, it was love at first sight, wasn't it?
Yes, I visited this mud house in 2015 for the first time when I was a journalist, and the first glimpse I had of the house from the entry gate was like, this is a dream house if I ever want to have. And I think that strong intent of living in a mud house, and especially like I was super inspired by the architects who built it and the architecture of the house, that it took me almost 7-8 years, but it manifested and finally I'm here.
I want to hear the whole story. You're a journalist, you said, for 7-8 years, a TV journalist, and you came here on a shoot, you fell in love with this place, and now you're the owner. So give me the whole story, how that happened.
So first time when I came, it was for a photo book which we were doing on how Delhi NCR is developing, and this house was a contrast to the different high-rises which were coming around Delhi NCR. And we actually came through the forest, not the main road, and it was like kikar trees on both sides, like thorns hitting you, and I was telling my photographer that where are we going? And when we finally reached, and the moment we entered, the gate is also like a wooden log, not a proper steel gate kind of. And from there, the house was like a dream house or a heavenly feeling. And then I kept on meeting the architects because I was very inspired by their ideology, by their work. And although I was not an architect, I had no background of doing architecture, but still I met them finding some reason or the other because I just wanted to meet them. And I remember having a meal with Revathi ma'am.
You were a fangirl.
Yes, I'm not a materialistic person in life, but everybody wants to have a house, and for me this was a dream house which I saw when I came here.
Let's first talk about the mud house. And you were on a shoot, you met the architects, you fell in love?
Fell in love with the house and the concept because the architects were working on sustainable living 40 years back. Right. At that time, this word sustainability was not even common, and they actually, on a serious note, they spend their entire life working on reducing the carbon emission by the sustainable buildings they created and following a sustainable lifestyle themselves. And since I was running a company
called
Ecoplore,
you leave your journalism job.
So I leave.
And then you formed this company Ecoplore
in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah. And I also remember like one incident where I was meeting Revathi ma'am, and I said that I want to build a home. Like if I ever want to have a home, I want it to be like your house. So and we have a land. I come from Bhopal, so we have a land there. my parents have a land there. So I said, we have a land in Bhopal, and can you help us design something which has rainwater harvesting, composting, waste management, grey water treatment. So it's not just about the structure, it's also about the other measures you follow. So she actually just took out a paper, a A4 size paper, a pen. She asked me that what is the total plot size, what are the directions of the sun, wind, moon, whatever, like very basic which any layman can tell, and she did a design. She gave me that design like in 5 minutes.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, so it was really fortuitous that you happened to come to the Mela, you happened to meet their son.
Yes, I think it's a destiny. It's all destiny. The time I met their son, I had no plans. Like I had never thought that I will go back to the house and see how is it or what is the current status. I just happened to come to the Mela and I thought that okay, it's just 1 kilometer away. Let's go and have a look. So yeah, I think that's also destiny.
And he was wanting to sell it to somebody who
he was not wanting to sell it. I'll say he wanted to keep the house the way his parents built it, and it was to this level that there were a lot of people, of course, like wanting to buy this land because it's a very prime location, and for his parents, it's like your baby. Like you create something, you invest so much energy, so much, not just the skill, but also the love and passion. You pour that into it, and that can be seen in the house. Anybody who comes it, nothing is just for the sake of it. Everything has a scientific reason, and there's a lot of detailing. Like there's a lot of depth in every element of the house. So
give me an example.
So for example, it's very interesting that this land was a mining area, and after mining the rocks were like haphazard. Generally anybody who builds a house, they will first level it, build a foundation and then construct whatever they want to build. They use the existing land. So from outside, this house has 4 stories. So top has it's called live roof. It has grass on it, natural grass, and then there are 2 terraces and 1 ground. Indoor, it's a single storage structure. Another very interesting fact is that the architects did not make a proper architectural drawing to build the house. They actually got it done in front of themselves by the artisans who built it.
Wow, like
So,
old, like almost as our ancestors, ancient ancestors might
Yes,
have done.
you can say.
Here's the material, and being sustainable, all the material is
80%
local.
material is
80%.
from the campus.
And they just built it in front of them.
Yes.
And it took a year and a half.
Almost 2 years.
What's your favorite part?
I think every corner has a different thing. The maximum time I spend is in the courtyard. We have a sitting space just next to the courtyard, and during summers we have artificial rain there, so it feels very beautiful. And it's like this part, your sitting space is there, and this part is open with a neem tree and some other plants. So you can actually see birds, you can see squirrels, and we have a lot of large windows and doors, and these are all glass windows, so you can see whatever is outside. So one very interesting element is that in olden houses in India, traditional structures, there was this concept of angan, which we say in Hindi, or a courtyard or an atrium. These are like different names for the same thing, which is basically the core of the house and the rooms are around it. Okay. So that's how all traditional structures, any part of India, used to be made, and I think even outside. So that part, one is that for ventilation it's really good because all the air passes through in different rooms from there. For me, I love it because I can see the forest, I can see the birds, I can see the monkeys playing, doing their stuff, and I am still in the indoors. In the modern construction, especially the high-rises and the apartments which most people live in the cities in India, you're totally disconnected with the outside world. So once you get inside your apartment, all your balconies, curtains, everything is closed, and because I also have an apartment and I live there too, so you don't get to know that whether it is raining outside or whether it is sunny, because you're totally disconnected with the outside world. But here, you're totally connected with what is happening outside.
And why do you call yourself a curator? And you also sometimes refer to the Mud House as a museum.
Yeah, so there is a reason for that. curation is like, because for Ecoplore, which is my main company, which I started in 2016, we curated hotels, which means that every property we onboarded had to be made of local architecture and need to have at least 30% of their campus covered with trees. So when I talk about curation at Van Bhoj, and why we call it also a sustainability museum, one, that we did not make any change in the house. So whatever artifacts, decor, furniture, linen, cushion, everything is as the architects left it. So the way they used to live in the house, we just maintained that. We didn't even move like one decor from here to there. And all the staff which was working for the architects, like when they were there, the entire staff is the same. So I will say that my staff has spent more time here than me. So they have been working here for almost 20 years, 15 years. And our idea is to basically conserve the land, conserve the house, conserve the forest, because finding a private forest in Delhi like this is I think next to impossible. I don't know of, like, because we have different hotels from Delhi NCR also listed on our website. I don't know of a single property apart from maybe PM House or President House where they actually have even PM and President, they don't have forests, they have manicured gardens. Having a forest in their private land, people generally this is like an urban concept, that either you have a landscaped manicured garden, lawns, some beautiful looking trees, plants and flowers, but there is no concept of having a forest with the house. So conservation of this place is not just about the building, but it is also about the surrounding and the forest which we have in our campus. And there is another interesting story that why there is forest here. So the Revathi ma'am, when she of course, like both Revathi ma'am and Vasanth sir, they used to practice in Delhi, and she wanted to live in a forest. So she created a forest for herself to live in the city. And this is not like very far off from the main city. We have high-rise apartments in 500 meters from our place, and it is like almost 40 minutes from airport, 40 minutes from central Delhi, 30 minutes from South Delhi. So you can say it is in the city, like completely in the city. It is located in a village, but the entire village had all concrete construction. There is no mud house here. But yeah, like having a forest, the concept of having a forest and conserving it, because I mean we get guests who come and say, oh, you can actually make this here, you can make this here. I said, like, for me it's the trees, and this is also futuristic, that maybe 5 years, the way Delhi is getting polluted, maybe 5 years later, I mean, people already are going from metro cities to forest and mountains to have an escape. But you would, there could be, like, I'm just thinking from the entrepreneurial perspective, there could be a business of coming to the forest and having some fresh air. That could be a proper venture that, I mean, because Delhi has like, it's the most polluted capital in the world, and you don't have access to fresh air in the city. But even in Delhi NCR, when you come here, you can yourself like feel the difference between your place or in the city and this place. So, so having forest, and especially not a man-made forest, like a natural forest. So this is not a natural forest, I'll say, but it's called rewilding, where you you allow nature to take over. So you don't plant, we have not planted these trees, so maximum of them are Aravali vegetation, which grew naturally through bird pollination over last 30 years. And the architects basically created an ecosystem where we have rainwater harvesting, we have, they initially made 2 to 3 different ponds, because water attracts wildlife and birds and insects, and then through the birds the forest came back.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it's quite rugged. It's not manicured.
It's not manicured. Like for the first time when I started living here, my staff was like doing sweeping in the forest. I was like, who sweeps in the I mean, it's just imagine you've gone to a national park and you can't swim in the water. But yeah, so I mean, he was just clearing the path, like the walking path. But yeah, that's the only intervention we do. If there is like a fallen wood, if there is like some trunk gets, because we have a lot of monkeys and they just jump and play. So we don't shift things. We just let it be as it is. We don't basically interfere in the natural phenomena. We do water the plants in the summers because that's needed. But yeah, the bigger trees can survive without watering also.
Yeah. Tell me, you mentioned guests. So when you talk about guests, who are those guests? Is this a homestay? Is it a museum? Is it on the map? Can people come and have tea and chai and samosas and get a tour? What's the...
Yeah, so it's neither a restaurant nor a night stay, not a hotel or a homestay. We call it, in India, we don't have concept of private museums. In Europe, there are a lot of private museums. So it's a place for day visit. People can come from 11 o'clock in the morning till 5 in the evening, because post sunset, we don't do any activity in the outdoor area, in the forest area, because we have wildlife coming here and spending their night in the forest. So we have different packages which people can book. I mean, there are like lunch packages, there are packages where you can just come and spend 2 hours and have the house tour. So people can book these packages in advance. They need to book it at least one day before, because we then plan the food and the meals according to that. So it's not a walk-in place that you can just find us on the map and walk in, because we are also not listed on the map. There is a deliberate reason, because we don't want to walk in. And the kind of people who come, our major focus is experiential learning. So it's not a leisure, I mean, people do come here to relax and just spend time with their friends and family, but our focus is on experiential learning. So our prime target group is architects, interior designers, design students, climate change professionals, people from the sustainable industry. Like sustainability is now big, so there are different domains within that. So anybody who wants to experience and learn about sustainable living and sustainable architecture, that is our major target audience. We do get school students, we get a lot of college students and a lot of professionals. So, and we also host like day-long retreats, day-long workshops, but the alignment has to be there on the the other side, like whosoever is coming need to be a little conscious and sustainable. And any leisure group, like anybody, like maybe a couple or a family just coming here to spend time together, they also come with the mindset of spending time in nature. It's not an activity place. You just sit, you just enjoy the calm, and you see the beautiful architecture of the house. And food which we provide is like vegetarian food. So being based in Delhi, a lot of our crowd is filtered only because of us providing vegetarian meals. And also we focus on millets. So millet is like one of our speciality. The food is very healthy, it's homemade. So a lot of people ask that how do you serve? We don't have a menu. So it's like you're visiting my house, like you're coming as a friend to my house, and the way I host you, I serve you the food, whatever is available, or maybe if I make something special, that's how we do it here. So there is no menu provided to the guest. It's like whatever we have, we'll serve you, have it. Yeah. That's the mood. And it's a kitchen, like it's an in-house kitchen. So it's not there is no concept of restaurant at all. It's like home food.
Right. And these are chargeable tours.
These are all chargeable tours.
Just hearing you talk, this is your passion. It's in your blood, isn't it? Tell me how you went from being a journalist to creating this platform for sustainable travel.
The journey was like I wanted to get into politics and bring change, because I chose to study political science, did my bachelor's in political science honors, and my career goal was to get into politics, but then I got through IIMC, Indian Institute of Mass Comm, which is India's top journalism college. I think all this is coming because somehow that love and feel for nature was always existing, and one reason for that is that I spent my childhood in a my Nanaji was working in a coal mine in Chhattisgarh. Now all the coal has been extracted, so the place I think is almost deserted, but that place had 47 springs.
Oh, wow.
In one small hill station. It's not a hill station, it was a coal mining area, but it was very beautiful. The place where I was born and I spent my first 7 years of life was, it was a government quarter, and the house size was this, the backyard was like this much. So we used to grow like pulses, lentils, fruits, vegetables. We had like mango tree, tamarind.
How did that take you? Let's
Yeah, so I think that connect with nature was always there because I was born and brought up in such scenario. And my last job as a journalist was with a company which used to work on media, like information related to space, satellites, drones, anything in the universe. And there I came to know, like I understood while working there, that we know how much damage we have done to planet Earth. We are trying to rectify it also, but unlike India, like in US, Europe, lot of countries in the West, anybody who has money can put a rocket in the universe, and that has led to so much of debris in the universe and space that we don't have any account of that. And all that I got to know while working in this company, and I couldn't, like my conscience was not letting me work, like although I had like good salary and good working hours, everything, but my conscience was not supporting me to work or contribute to such a thing. And one fine day I just resigned. I had no plans about what I'm going to do next, and me and my husband, we planned a holiday to Malaysia, which was our first international trip. So whenever I traveled within India, it was always to a sustainable hotel, because that somehow I liked it and I enjoyed it. But for Malaysia, I was searching for 5 to 6 hotels, and it took me almost 1 month to just identify 5 hotels which were sustainable, because I had no clue about the country. So I was free, I could do that research. And when I stayed in those properties, it was mesmerizing. Like there was a Borneo island where I
want to keep you in India. Let's get to
so that's the
company.
inspiration.
Yeah,
the inspiration came from Malaysia. So whenever it is believed that when you are in a very relaxed creative space, you actually do come out with the best ideas. So that happened in Malaysia, that when I stayed in these properties, I realized that when I'm going to go back to India from my holiday, I am going to bring together all the sustainable hotels at one platform. And then I started my research, because for me everything was a blank slate. And there was another benefit that entrepreneurship in India was in news around 2015, 2016. There were a lot of media articles, your story came up. So that also I think was a big support, because you could start something and there were incubation platforms to help you understand how business is done.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about how it actually works. Is it just you curated all the properties? Have you been to every single one of them? There's 1,500.
No, I have not been to 1,500.
Darn, what a shame. But you were telling me earlier how you really do go and look and investigate.
I did my investigative journalism while visiting these hotels.
Because a lot of people will say that they are eco-friendly, or that there's
a lot of greenwashing, the huge greenwashing.
So how do you check for that?
So it came through experience, I'll say. And that experience is now so much that if you show me a picture, I can tell you that, okay, this hotel is sustainable to what level. Because I have traveled so much. I've traveled almost the entire country in every state. And I have not personally visited 1,500 hotels, but I have personally visited every geography. So initially I wanted to come up with some common measure which can be applied to a desert, to a mountain, to a beach, because India has everything. And so I traveled like northeast to different kind of terrains, and I came up with two things which was very important for anybody to claim that they are doing a sustainable business in terms of hotels. One was construction, because the maximum damage to any destination, and I'm talking about the nature-based destination, leisure places, is done by construction. So today if you see Shimla, Manali, Ooty, Mussoorie, all these popular places where people go to enjoy nature, they have been converted to a concrete jungle. So what I understood after visiting the sustainable properties was that if we reduce the carbon emission during the construction process, and once you, so for example, once we build a mud house, the temperature control automatically is there, because in summers it is almost 15-20 degree like cooler than outside. So by default your AC dependency will reduce. So similarly, depending on the geographies, if you build naturally, and traditionally like 100 years back, before British time, most structures were all built by natural materials. The cement was introduced only I think around independence time. So even the British structures which you see, or the heritage monuments which are like 1000-year-old or 500-year-old, they are all natural materials. And people question that, like a lot of people say that, okay, what will happen to your mud house when it rains? So this house is existing like this for 30 years and the monuments are existing for 1000 years. It doesn't melt. And I think there's another reason why all of us think like that, because when I was a kid, or when we all were kids, in our school we were taught that kacha house is like a mud house and pakka house is a concrete house. So from your childhood, that notion is put in your mind that if you're building a mud house, it cannot be long lasting.
Interesting. Yeah. And also I think for the layperson, growing up, you play with mud patties, you're doing it, they dry, it rains, they disappear. So the concept that you're living in something that's kind of, based on mud, dung, and turmeric, did you say, to give you the color?
Powder and some linseed oil.
Yeah, okay. It is extraordinary.
It's a technique.
And what's wonderful about it, as you said, it keeps you warm in the winter, or warmer in the winter, and cool in the summer. So it's great.
It's same with all the materials, like for example Jammu and Kashmir or Himachal, which is mostly a cold area. If they build with wood, the wood like by default reduces the temperature, like makes it warmer by 15-20 degrees. And even in the Western world, I think whatever I've heard and read, a lot of them are sustainable structures. Like they do use cement and modern materials, but they also use wood depending on the climate of the location.
So you have a good eye for whether a mud house is pakka, to confuse things completely.
I think that's the best way to put it out. Yeah.
So you have a good eye. You look after. You help keep a certain standard for the eco-tourist. You've got these 1,500 properties, and I presume it's growing because there is a trend for this.
There's a huge trend. Like now, every day I get at least 2 to 3 calls from people saying we want to build a mud house. I mean, not just mud house, any sustainable structure. And a lot of them, they want to give it for vacation rental, or put it on B&B, or maybe make a eco resort. So it's a growing trend.
So before we talk about the trend and your third business, can you tell me what your favorite properties are? I know it's difficult, right? You're probably like this mother figure that has these 1,500 properties, and it's really hard to choose a favorite. But can you give me your top 3 in terms of maybe that are just the wow?
Yeah. So there's a property in Goa, Karnataka border, 2 hours from the Goa airport, but in Karnataka. And there's no beach there. There's a private waterfall in that property. Within 15 kilometers of that property, there's nothing, like only forest, no village, no urban city. And you can actually walk from your bedroom to the waterfall in 5 minutes. And it's a private waterfall, so it's only accessible to people staying in the property, and it's like 5-6 room property, that's it. I remember when I was having dinner over there, or lunch, it was like there's a river, there's a water stream passing by, and you're having your food there. The food they prepared, 80% of it was grown on their farm. So they used to grow grains, vegetables, fruits. I remember plucking a passion fruit there, like it's a creeper, a climber plant. I remember plucking that and having it, like lots of bird sound in the morning. So that, and it was totally away from the civilization. So I think that was the best thing. And at that time, I went there 4-5 years back. There was no Wi-Fi also, so no network. So that was, for me, I love if I have no network and no gadget. Then there is this property in Gujarat, in Gir, which is a lion sanctuary, and there this hotel, they grow 160 varieties of mangoes in their campus. So it's like India's largest mango museum because they grow so many varieties of mangoes. A lot of them are grafted, but all grown at one place. And from the room, like from the balcony of the room, you can actually spot crocodiles because there is a river passing by, and I mean just next to the property, and you can spot crocodiles over there. Then one of my favorite property is in Jim Corbett, which was actually the first place which I visited in 2011 when I was not doing anything related to tourism, and I was just went there as a tourist. So they have mud cottages, and all the rooms are very cozy and similar, like cooler in summers. And I remember when I went there, they had mulberry trees which were very like not very big, so there are different varieties of mulberries, and I could just pluck while I am walking on the trail. I can pluck mulberries and have. So I still remember. Nice. So these are the kind of experiences which people get when they book or visit our hotels, and all these are experiential properties, and once you book them and stay there, you don't need to get out of the property for at least 2 nights, 3 days. Like
the idea is to enjoy.
Yeah, there's so many things like like there's just so many activities there, and it's so relaxing that you just go and you get good food, you get homegrown. A lot of our properties, almost 80% of them, they grow their vegetables, whatever possible. Like if they have large land, they grow their grains also. So food is homegrown, chemical free. And you are in a very beautiful location.
And most of them are out in the countryside. I'm a big hiker. Is that one of the features?
They are all in offbeat locations. So if you ask me that do you have a property in Shimla, not in the town. We have it in Naldehra, which is like 1.5 hours from Shimla town. So like that, all these properties are near tourist destinations, but 1 hour away, 2 hour away, half an hour away.
Meaning a dependency on the car?
Oh, yes. You will have to.
That's not very sustainable.
I know. I know. Like, I'm still in the thought process that once we have public transport in EV, I mean, right now all the cabs run, most of the cabs, they run on petrol and diesels. But once we have EV public transport, I would love to just collaborate with them, and especially for long tours, because sure, these are long distance travel.
Yeah. So do you think that you're talking about the trend for wanting to build mud houses, but is there also a trend for wanting to go and stay in more environmentally friendly, sustainable places? To feel that sort of natural connect under your feet, quite literally, but also maybe morally or philosophically a desire to support that kind of industry?
From the customer perspective, we actually had to do a huge shift in the marketing strategy of our company. Initially, because the vision behind starting Ecoplore is to work on sustainability. We started with sustainable tourism, now we are also into sustainable construction. So, initially we were like, if you see our social media handle of 2017-18, we used to say, this hotel has rainwater harvesting, this hotel does composting, you should visit this hotel because it has solar panel. And people used to think we are an NGO. Right. And I still remember me and my team, we actually had to put a post saying that, what do you think, Ecoplore is a company or an NGO? And we got almost 50% answer saying it's an NGO. Because people thought that we are creating environmental awareness about sustainability. And that like we literally had to completely change our marketing strategy in 2019 around COVID time, because we also got a lot of time to introspect at that time. We started talking about experiences. So now if you go to our Instagram handle or any social media, you will find posts where it shows that you are spending in a very serene environment, in nature, or you are just sitting and talking to the trees, or you are having food, or like home, like you can pluck fruits from the trees, you can go for hiking, you can do nature walk. So now we focus on experience, and I think for a tourist, at least domestic tourist, experience comes first and sustainability is still second, unfortunately. It is growing. We do have a lot of customers which actually go and give us feedback saying that, oh, I was so happy to see that you don't use plastic bottles in your rooms. I was so happy to see that you use dispensers and not like small sachets of toiletries. So there are customers who are conscious and then they give us such feedback. But on a mass level, if I say that they come for at looking at the beautiful structures, the closeness to nature, the activities and experiences. Marketing strategy we had to change, and this worked out for us.
That is really interesting, that there's a desire to travel for experience that is sort of connected to the earth, but not necessarily in support of the earth.
Yeah, but then people the motive, like we have two reasons why we are doing this. One is that to reduce the carbon emission and to promote ground level conservation. From the customer perspective, it is that if suppose you book a hotel through us and you visit there, spend 2 days or 2 nights, 3 days, you get inspired by looking, like if you're spending, because on a holiday you're going for relaxation. So suppose, for example, you have no connect to sustainability, you just saw this beautiful house and you booked it and you came here for visit. But when you spend the entire day here and you like gradually notice, if you have that observance, that okay, yeah, these people have a lot of plants, they have a lot of indoor plants, outdoor plants, the mud structure looks so cozy and comfortable. So that awareness among the customers was our second like vision, to create awareness among the travelers about sustainable lifestyle. So the tourism is only limited to maybe 2 days, 5 days, 10 days. What you practice in your life is most important. So a lot of our customers actually started practicing sustainable measures in their life when they came back after the travel. So I think that is the biggest achievement, I would say, which we are trying to create.
Lovely. Earth evangelists. And do you think rural tourism in general is picking up?
Rural tourism, yes, because I'm talking about India because our main focus is India right now. There is a lot of government push for promoting rural tourism. I know a lot of state governments, even central government, who focus on developing homestays. Like in Madhya Pradesh, they have this village destination development program where they are inviting people to just create a destination out of a village. So the government is pushing a lot, and also for the travelers, because almost most of the domestic travelers, they come from metro cities or bigger cities. They don't come from villages because they don't have money to travel. So people living in metro, for example, somebody living in a high-rise apartment where their child has lost connectivity, they don't know how the food grows, how the earth feels. So for them, I think it's also an exposure where they want to visit villages, because it's very interesting. Like when I was a kid, I used to visit my village every summer vacation, just because my grandparents lived there and my parents took us to the village, and I remember till I was in 12th, I used to visit it every year. In the modern context, since the grandparents also have shifted to the cities, so the kids and the family don't have exposure to the village. So that is why rural tourism is coming up. I mean, because earlier rural tourism was there by default. No, like I used to visit my village anyways every year. So there was rural tourism. I knew how food is grown. I have seen my fields. I have seen, like in my village home, there was this well where we used to like fetch the water using the rope. So I have seen all that. But today's kid, like I don't think they have seen a well or they have used a well. I have used a well when I was a child. So that was rural tourism by default. Now, because that disconnect has built up, so even the kids, like for example, if I have a child, I would want my child to see how people in villages live. So I think that is the reason why rural tourism is growing up.
Also, more people have cars.
Yes.
And they can get out, and the roads have improved. So
Yeah.
there's a lot happening in that.
Yes, infrastructure has developed a lot. So you can just drive for 5 hours and enter a village and spend 2 days there.
Have you found that your clientele has increased?
Yes. After we changed our marketing strategy around post-COVID, like we have been like growing almost like you can say double growth every year.
Okay. All right. Now let's talk about your third business. So you've discovered that there are more people interested in these mud houses and in sustainable architecture. So much so that you have created a third company, or love project.
Yeah, so since COVID, we were getting queries, as I mentioned, that people wanted to, because during COVID, they were in their homes, they were stuck in their houses, they wanted to breathe fresh air. So there were many creative ideas. I think a lot of creative businesses were born in COVID also. So people contacted us saying that, can you help us build something like that? And we never marketed saying that we are doing construction. So I was hesitant, like it took me almost from 2020 to 2025, 5 years to actually realize that yes, we can also do construction if we are doing sustainable construction, if we are reducing carbon emission, if we are replacing a concrete bungalow with a mud house, and there are a lot of benefits from it, not just for the environment but also to the human body, that will be very much impactful. So I think that impact which I realized that I can create by getting into construction finally made me do it. And also the support from my husband, because he's the one who has been pushing me for this, and he now takes care for the execution part.
So you all work together.
Now we work together, but we have our roles very clear. I think that's very important, because when I started my company in 2016, I wanted, because he comes from a tech background, so I wanted him to support me, but he didn't. He said we should never mix personal life and business together. But I think also when you know a person more, and we have spent 14 years together now. So now at least I know that what kind of person he is.
You know which lines you can each cross and where you can stay. So tell me what's next.
Next, I am now focusing on B2B. So I think we are a little slow because I learned everything on the go. I learned while doing, like I have no background from tourism, business, no family background in business. So I learned everything while doing it. We are partnering with especially Europe-based travel agencies, because this has been my understanding that people from Europe, in compared to all the countries in the world, are comparatively more eco-conscious, and if they get an option of a comfortable, sustainable property, I'm sure they will opt for that. So we are doing tie-ups with different travel companies, specifically focusing on Europe, and we want to focus more on B2B business in Ecoplore, because of course that's more revenue, like that has higher revenue. And there's also this herd mindset within India that whatever foreigners like, Indians follow that. It is there. I mean, so we realize that let's focus on them, and then I'm sure like Indians would also want to go. I mean, people do opt for experiential properties, but in India decisions are based on budget. So we are not low budget properties. So our hotels are not at 2,000, 3,000 per night. Our average ticket size is around 6 to 7,000 per room per night for 2 people.
Prerna, thank you so much. It's been an absolute delight talking to you, and I really appreciate it. Out here in the wild with the monkeys now all wanting in on the action too. So thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Like it, share it, and keep up with what's happening in Village Square and on the Village, in the Village with Ecoplore as well. Thank you very much for watching.